Director of Digital News Media at AFCEA International Signal Magazine. I'd like to welcome you to our executive interview series. Today, I'm sitting down with Greg Smith, who is the Chief Executive Officer or CEO of the Technology Advancement Center. Greg is a 5-time cybersecurity CEO and has spent the last 15 years as a security and technology leader. He was previously the chairman of the board of the Cybersecurity Association of Maryland, which is actually the largest state cybersecurity association in the United States. Greg became the CEO at the Technology Advancement Center, fondly known as TAC, last April. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. You're such a cybersecurity expert. To say that is kind of an understatement. And then your ability, to form partnerships and kind of your connections across the security and cybersecurity and industries is tremendous. You're now leading TAC and TAC's commitment to solving some of the biggest cybersecurity challenges facing not only the Department of Defense but other government agencies. Like, I know you've done some great work with U.S. Cyber Command. Can you tell us all about TAC, the Technology Advancement Center? I know it was formerly known as MISI, the Maryland Innovation and Security Institute. And then kind of go into what you want people to know about the evolution of the nonprofit and kind of where you're guiding it and the overall mission for today. Thanks.
Yeah, again, Kimberly, thanks so much, and very much appreciate this opportunity. As you said, the TAC is our new name, and you mentioned that it stands for the Technology Advancement Center. And really what we are is we are a nonprofit that is focusing on some of the nation's largest technology challenges with a real emphasis on cybersecurity. As a nonprofit, we focus on 3 specific areas, or 3 pillars, as I call them. The first pillar is small business and academic engagement. And a lot of the innovation that you see in the cybersecurity world is coming from those small businesses and from academia. So we're looking for the best and the brightest companies to solve some of the nation's cybersecurity challenges. The second pillar that we're very focused on is workforce development. And as you know, in the United States, we have a tremendous shortage of cybersecurity workers, probably close to 600,000 open slots today. So as an organization, we are focused on training the military, civilians, and children in all areas of cybersecurity. The third area that we focus on, or the third pillar, is what I call innovation. And we do some very creative things, leveraging that small business and academic community to solve some problems. A good example of that is, as you know, our adversaries are always trying to manipulate our elections. So we've worked with some of the bleeding edge small businesses that are focused on Russian dissemination in our elections. And really what we're trying to do is tackle those big, difficult challenges that we have as a country have, utilizing the training that we do, as well as that small business and academic ecosystem.
Right, sure. And can you kind of delve into more kind of how you're tackling that innovation, especially with small businesses, kind of the proof of concept work that you all do? How is TAC helping small businesses bring their innovations and be that bridge to the government? Thanks.
Yeah, great question. When we think about small businesses in the ecosystem, one of the things that we've initiated is a Small Business Wednesday. So every Wednesday, we bring in 3 companies. They do a 45-minute presentation to myself and the team. And really what we're looking at during that initial session is the technology meeting some of the mission needs that we know about? Is the technology novel? Is the business solid? And what I mean by is the business solid is it an ongoing concern? Are they backed by great venture capitalists? Do they have cash in the bank? Do they have customers? And the new thing that we're going to be instituting later this year is we're going to be looking for foreign influence. And what I mean by that is, does their cap table, does some of their financing actually have Chinese dollars in it, Russian dollars, Iranian dollars? Does some of their leadership team have some type of foreign influence? Did they go to school in China, Russia, etc.? So what we're trying to do with these small businesses is provide them with some value, how to sell into the government, make recommendations on where they should go to, provide those introductions. But we're also trying to solve the government's problem to make sure that they are a viable company for us to bring into the government so they can leverage that technology that the small businesses brings to the table.
Right, sure. And I'm sure given your experience, especially with the Cybersecurity Maryland Association and now at TAC, kind of your view of the cybersecurity workforce and what's needed and how there's been a gap of skilled workers to be in this much needed workforce. Can you talk about kind of what you've seen, and then what are the specific programs, strategies that TAC is implementing to address the skills gap in the cybersecurity industry?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. What's interesting is our workforce is depleted compared to the need. And I believe, as our organization does, that we need to start training our youth early, get them interested in computer science, STEM education. And one of the important things that I think we have missed is that our adversaries think very differently than we do. And I think that there is a tremendous opportunity to bring some of our kids that might be disadvantaged in one way or another to the table because they think differently and they might think like our adversaries. So what we try to do here at the TAC from a what I'll call a middle school and high school educational program standpoint is to hold quarterly events, reach out to the community across the state of Maryland, but also across the, kind of the DC metro area, the DMV, in an effort to get middle schoolers and high schoolers to start to embrace STEM and learn about cyber. So we do a variety of training exercises, again, on a Saturday, where the kids come in and they learn and they participate. But all of our training, whether it's for the middle schoolers or the high schools, for the military or for college-age students, is all using real-world hardware and software. And that's one of the key differentiators of how we train our future cyber warriors versus what's typically out there in the community today.
Right, very cool. And then can you talk about kind of how TAC as a nonprofit is helping the community? Any examples or of scenarios where TAC was brought in to support an initiative that you can highlight?
Yeah. So I touched a little bit earlier on election security, right? That is going to be very topical for our country this year. So we've been involved in helping the government with election security for 3 years. As many folks are aware, there is a war going on in Eastern Europe. And, how do the Russians move their military vehicles and their personnel? They move it by rail. So a couple of years ago, we didn't really know a lot about rail security. And the government approached us to create some type of learning event for the government, i.e. the Department of Defense, about rail security. And again, what we were able to do is create a day-long training session with some small businesses that focused only on rail security. And we brought them in and we did a training session for them 2 years ago. In 2023, we had a much more comprehensive event where we actually did a hacking event of various rail systems. And we brought in some of the cybersecurity leaders in the rail industry, like Amtrak, who did a significant amount of training of the metros, the freight rails, the passenger rails, and the people movers in an effort to try to train that entire rail ecosystem about the threats of rail security, but also ways to defend those networks as well.
Yeah, Greg, the Hack the Railroad event sounded amazing that you held last October 2023. Can you talk about the groundbreaking nature of it, and kind of your point of view of what did the Amtrak officials participating in the event think, and the Silas organization and U.S. Cyber Command that also participated in it? Can you delve into that a little bit more? Thank you.
Yeah, happy to do that. I think that the event was a huge success, and we are getting ready to plan an even larger event in 2024. When you think about the threat vector of rail, you don't really think about all the facets of really what's happening. You start with a potential passenger, right? You book your ticket online or on your mobile device. Your ticket itself is sent to your mobile device, so you have a mobile ticket. There's threat vectors in each one of those components that I just touched on. When you go buy a cup of coffee at the cafe car, you might pay with a credit card, right? Another threat vector. You might use your mobile phone. Again, a threat vector. So as a passenger, there's some tremendous opportunities for adversaries to take advantage of that. Imagine yourself on the train, and what are you connecting to? You're connecting to free Wi-Fi. Yet again, another threat vector. That's one side of the equation. That's the passenger side. Think about the rail process itself. When trains are moving down the tracks, their signaling mechanisms are typically digital or via radio. Again, another great threat vector. So imagine an adversary having the opportunity to change a train signal that could create some type of crash between two trains. The new rail cars themselves and the locomotives are very digital. Imagine having the ability to break into one of their systems and accelerate the train's speed to the point where as it's going around a turn, it might turn over. So the threat vector of the rail industry is massive. It's fascinating. And there's so many facets of it that touch, both the consumer, the rail company itself, as well as, citizens that might be driving along the train tracks as well. So it's a big problem. And I think it's an area that is currently underserved. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for companies like Silas to really become the leaders in that particular industry.
Right, sure. And I wanted to go back to pull a little thread about when you mentioned your Small Business Wednesdays. Seems like such a great opportunity. What advice would you have for companies who want to participate in that? How should they prepare, and kind of what type of assessments, will you help them out with?
Yeah, really good question. Ideally, what we're looking for from them out of the gate in our first meeting is an overview of their company, the people that are presenting, their experience, and we really always like to see a demo. Sometimes in this first meeting, companies don't want to share a demo, so we're more than happy to sign an NDA with those companies, and then we'll host a second meeting with them to kind of drill into their technology in greater detail. From there, if we think the technology is really interesting and novel, we might ask them to bring the technology in here to actually show us. So at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is provide the Department of Defense with companies that we've vetted and feel strongly that we could support going forward. Now, in some extreme cases, what we'll do is a company might ask us to do a complete product evaluation on that particular product that they have. So in the case of a company like Darktrace, we did an extensive evaluation of their technology, basically going through every single one of their product offerings, the features, and the so-called benefits that they have. We put that through the paces here in our lab. We have our engineers test it. And really what we'll do is write a very extensive report, which is available on Darktrace's website, of our findings. And, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is help these companies any way we can. And some of those are paid engagements, some of those are non-paid engagement. It really depends on the complexity of what we're going to do for that particular company.
Greg, and tell us where you're located and tell us all about your facilities.
Hey, thanks, Kimberly. Yeah, our corporate headquarters is based in Columbia, Maryland. We also have another facility right outside of NSA near the Baltimore Washington International Airport. In total, we have 100,000 square feet. Here at the facility in Columbia, we have 75,000 square feet, the bulk of which is collaboration space, classrooms, and lab space. But we do have a secret facility upstairs. Our other facility is a TS collateral facility, approximately 25,000 square feet. Most of that is meeting rooms as well as lab space. And we are in the process of building a SCIF in the basement.
And those facilities sound like a great place for those partnerships that you're building, sounds like.
Absolutely. Yes. Again, when we talk about collaboration, it's industry and government. And the beauty of what we do here is it's easy for people to come outside the fence, come to our facility and meet with companies, meet with partners, and just leveraging our space.
Sure. And then finally, what are your long-term goals and your vision for TAC? What do you hope to accomplish in the next year? And then, even in longer term, next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. So, this year we're really focused on three main themes. The first theme is how can we do a better job of training our future cyber warriors? So we are expanding our lab environment significantly. We're going to tie it into one of the classrooms. So what we've done is we've built an entire city with all the working hardware and software that makes a city run. We're going to be expanding that. We're actually going to be tripling the size of that city. We're going to include a port, we're going to include an airport and some other facilities to really show the breadth of what a city or a military installation would look like. That's really the first big theme that we're focusing on. Second theme is revenue diversification. Obviously, as a nonprofit that is not a sponsorship-based organization, we're always looking for new things to do with new government and commercial entities. And that's, sort of falls into the long-term viability of our organization. And the third thing is we want to just make a great place to work where people want to come and have the ability to collaborate. And that collaboration can be in an unclassified environment, in a classified secret level facility, all the way up to a SCIF. And that's something that we're very focused on. We have the facilities to do that. And that's one of the key focuses for this year. As I think about our organization 3 to 5 years down the road, I'd like us to see us have additional footprints. Today, we have 2 facilities. We're looking to expand into the DMV. We've been asked to come down to San Antonio. We've been asked to come to Georgia. We're not going to do that right away. We want to be welcomed by those states and those organizations that are currently there. But the other piece of expansion that we're really focused on is we want to expand our footprint internationally. So this year, we're actually going to be doing some of our events in Europe, but we also have some opportunities to do things in friendly countries like Korea and Singapore. So that's kind of the short-term and the long-term plan of what we're going to be doing here.
Right. That sounds interesting, especially about the international aspects. What would you look to do there with South Korea and Singapore, other countries?
Yeah, so let me talk about what we're going to be doing in Europe. We're going to be hosting initially a Hack the Hospital event in one of the countries in Europe. We're also going to be doing a small but very important Hack the Port event over there as well. This particular country has a number of ports, very similar to what we have here on the East Coast. So we're going to be replicating some of the things that we've done here over there.
Right, sure. And those were all my questions. Anything else you wanted to highlight?
No, I just wanted to add that we are very much open for business. If you happen to be a prime contractor, please come and talk to us. If you're an equipment provider, please come and talk to us. We love small business. So if you're a small business and you have a product, please come and present to us during our Small Business Wednesdays. But if you're a small services company, we'd love to have you as a part of our ecosystem, because we do a lot of hiring for those innovation products that I talked about from small businesses. And again, Kimberly, I wanted to thank you so much for this opportunity. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Greg. Thanks for speaking to us all about the Nonprofit Technology Advancement Center. And for anyone who wants to find out more information, visit their website, thetac.tech. That's THETAC.tech, TECH. And thanks again, Greg, and have a good day.
Thank you so much, Kimberly.